So I've always wanted the ultimate portable gaming console, something that can play emulators at decent speeds as well as playing AAA titles. And we've certainly had that with game streaming, but streaming games means always having a good constant internet access, and it also means that I cannot travel around with it unless I have fast internet access. And being portable is a major factor for being a portable console in my opinion. So although the Steam Deck is a great device that can play AAA titles, you definitely need some sort of bag and carry case to carry it around. But after all these years, we're pretty close to something that meets these requirements and more. Enter the GPD Win 4. Now I'm no stranger to GPD products, the first being the GPD XD, an Android based console which was my daily emulation machine on my commutes to work. And then I got the GPD Win 2. Like the Win 4, is a Windows based portable PC. I wanted to love this machine. I hoped it would be my daily driver for emulation and AAA gaming, but it lacked the power and was missing some features that it really needed, namely the backlit keyboard. And honestly, the fans were crazy loud to the point of it being not usable. That being said, GPD's vision was not far off from what it would become. GPD would then release the Win Max and the Win 3. The Win Max was more like a mini laptop and the Win 3 was promising, but the design made it difficult to play. But GPD took everything from its previous iterations and made what would become the GPD Win 4. So I bought this way back when the Win 4 opened its IndieGoGo campaign. It was teased for a very long time. I knew it was a device I really wanted. Like the Win 3, it had a sliding screen to reveal the keyboard, but unlike the Win 3, it had physical buttons, and unlike the Win 2, it had a backlit keyboard. The design is very obviously, if not a copy of the PSP, but more on that later. I managed to get the 1TB with 32 gigs of RAM for a whopping 7,790 Hong Kong dollars, which is around £777. This is by far my most expensive handheld console, so it had better live up to its expectations. As I say, the design is unapologetically a copy of the PSP, from its overall design, to its shoulder buttons, to its little switch on the side. And the D-pad handles pretty much the same as the PS Vita. The Win 4 has the usual ABXY, and if you look close enough, they've also printed the cross, circle, square and triangle. The shoulder buttons feel almost exactly as the PSP does, but they've also added a trigger buttons to go along with it. It has 2 extra paddle buttons at the back of the console, but in all honesty, I've never really used them. But it's good they included them for the player to map them for all their needs. The analog sticks are similar to Nintendo Joy-Cons, but unfortunately it's only Alp sticks and not Hall Effect sticks. But in all honesty, the analog sticks seem fine when gaming. It also features a full-size USB as well as 2 Type-C ports on the top and bottom of the console for charging, or potentially add in an external graphics card. On the side it has a switch to switch between mouse and control pad, which is a great feature dating way back to the Win 1. You would use the right analog stick to control the mouse and the shoulder buttons for left and right click. Alternatively, GPD has included a tiny trackpad which you would use to control with your thumb. It's a very good way to keep the size of the console small, but I did find it's a little on the small size and meant controlling of the mouse cursor a little cumbersome, but it does mean I can keep it in gamepad mode but still have mouse access. Being a Windows machine also meant we have Windows Hello and comes with a fingerprint reader which should keep some unwanted logins safe. And the opposite side of the lanyard is a menu button, which is a shortcut for the Xbox game bar. Above is a USB-A and Type-C port for charging, a power button and the volume, which annoyingly is switched around. Having the volume button on the left side feels like they've had modelled the Win 4 on a mobile phone instead of a portable console. What's also annoying is accidentally pressing the power button instead of the volume button, so I usually have to look at the power button before I press it. I think having a power button either recessed in or placed on the opposite side would make more sense. And expandable micro SD storage. It has an AMD Ryzen 7 6800U with an integrated Radeon 680M graphics chip. It has a 6-inch 1920 by 1080 IPS touchscreen and RGB lights on the shoulder buttons, which I'll come on to later. The Win 4 measures at 22 by 9.2 by 2.8 centimeters, so it's definitely on the chunky side, and weighing around 570 grams, it's definitely not as light as the PSP. The keyboard is mostly practical, but it's a bit on the small side to do day-to-day tasks such as writing essays or creating spreadsheets, but writing emails and inputting usernames and password is perfectly fine. As I said, one of the key features missing from the Win 2 was the backlit keyboard, and the Win 3 did have a backlit keyboard, but it was not physical buttons, so I'm glad the Win 4 was able to incorporate them both. The shoulder buttons do have RGB lights, which you would think would just be cosmetic, because RGBs mean better gaming, right? But there's some added functionality to that as well. When you're playing FPS games, for example, it will react if you shoot or get shot. I think it's pretty much reacting to the rumble motor whenever it rumbles, which is a very nice addition, but not something I'll miss if they remove it in the next iteration. Software wise, it uses Windows 11, so anything you can do on a Windows machine, you can do on this. I recommend using an emulation front end to navigate and house all of your games. One of my favourites being Launchbox is able to list and launch your Steam games too, and also comes with box art and metadata for your games. So that's enough about the tech spec. How well does it game? Here's a montage of games prior to PS3 and Wii U.
You got an enemy on your tail. Use the brake.
So how well does it play Wii U and PS3 games? Wii U runs fairly well. With a few tweaks, I can game on Wii U games quite comfortably. Also, having to wait for Nintendo to release a HD version of Wind Waker for the Switch when you can play it on the Win 4 is very nice indeed. PS3 on the other hand can be hit or miss, and this mainly has to do with the development of the emulator. It's still pretty early days for the PS3 emulator to be as mature as the PS1 or PS2, but from the games I've played, it runs okay. Not perfect by any means, but this is the same as if you had a top-end gaming machine. Where this portable device differs from the likes of the Steam Deck is ability to play AAA titles not only from Steam, but also GOG, or Epic, or any other launcher. And how well does it play? pretty well, I'd say. That being said, most of the settings have been set to medium to low, and sometimes with the resolution of 720 for harder to play games. So please temper your expectations if you do take the plunge on this machine. It's not going to outperform your desktop or laptop PC, but it does play well enough to game comfortably. For example, I was able to play Resident Evil 2 Remake from start to finish exclusively on the Win 4. I know I'll probably get some criticisms out there that it should be played on a TV or monitor, but for me, gaming has been limited since being a dad, and portable gaming makes a lot more sense to game where I can and when I can. That being said, you can plug a HDMI cable via the Type-C connector and use your TV or monitor to game. It does not come with a kickstand like the Nintendo Switch, but I did add a stick-on stand to mine as I can prop it up so it doesn't get in the way of the fans when I sit the Win 4 down on the table. I would recommend it to those who are thinking about getting such a powerful machine. You may also have noticed I'm using thumbstick covers. I find the thumbsticks are slightly smaller than I like to game on, and also provides extra protection for the thumbsticks. If you would like to get the same ones as I have, I've left a link in the description below. So, do I think the GPD Win 4 is worth the money? For that, I would like to take a step back. The Win 4 is a very niche product, and it's definitely not for everyone. I think for the average consumer, I think they would prefer to have a device which can almost pick up and play, and it's very hard not to bring up the Steam Deck to this talk. For example, the ease of use to pick up the Steam Deck, switch it on, log into your Steam account, and download and game in just a few clicks. The Win 4 is a Windows machine, so it acts like a PC rather than a console. Also, the Steam Deck has done extremely well in terms of sales, so Steam would support the Steam Deck as long as its popularity lasts. So the Win 4 potentially would not be getting the support with the updates as much as the Steam Deck, but any Win 4 specific functionality may not be supported in the future, so that's also something to think about. For the price of the Win 4, you could almost get 2 Steam Decks, so why would I even recommend the Win 4? For me, it's the size and its functionality. I love the form factor and I love some of its standout features. The physical backlit keyboard is probably its most useful feature, and having it hide away by sliding the screen is ingenious. The size comparable to its performance is nothing to shy away from. I'm still astonished at what it's able to play and how well it plays. It also has a Windows operating system, which I believe most people are comfortable with, but I think it all comes down to money. The GPD Win 4 is expensive, but if you think these features are worth it, then the Win 4 is definitely a device you should not overlook. And as of filming, there are now a handful of companies making portable Windows consoles at around this price point. As I said from the beginning of this video, I've been on the hunt for the ultimate portable console, a console that can play emulators and AAA titles well and has the added bonus of being a PC. And most importantly, it's portable enough that I don't get odd looks like I do when I game on a Steam Deck in public. And for that, the GPD Win 4 definitely comes close to be my ultimate portable console. If you have any questions about the Win 4, or if there's any games you'd like me to play, put a comment below and I'll try and get back as soon as I can. Thanks again for watching guys, and I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers!